Born in the Soviet Union, came to America when I was 3, went to Queens, 9 family members in a studio apartment, remember a ton of it, which immediately gives you that taste. Moved to Jersey, you know, for first grade, became an American there, discovered football very, very quickly, Jets is like passion from September of 1982. Became a big football fan, loved sports, loved America, like lived that 1980s Jersey life outside 24 hours a day. Parents had no fucking clue where I was, riding bikes to Krausers, buying fucking, Now and Laters, flip, it was cliche, that kid, flip it, go to Now and Laters, buy 20 of them, bring them back to the, to the playground and double my money, lemonade stands, shoveling snow, Christmas carols as a nice Jewish boy, like whatever it took to make $1. Shit student, crazy bad, D's and F's, which was insane because every other Russian immigrant was, if you went to NYU, you were a disaster. You had to go to Harvard and Yale. I was completely on the other side of that. Had a dad that worked every minute, never saw him, even though he was in the same house as me every night. Had a mom who built so much self-esteem in me, but if I got out of line, would punch me in the face. So that balance of like all that. Made a ton of money in baseball cards when I was a teenager, $3,000-$4,000 a weekend, which kind of showed me like I'm different. Fell in love with my dad's business. At that point, he lived the American dream, saved all his money, and bought a liquor store in Springfield, New Jersey. Dragged me into the store, paying me $2 an hour, which from $4,000 a weekend, as you can imagine, was a game-changingly tough thing, but there was no option with Soviet parents. Fell in love with people collecting wine because I collected sports cards, decided that I was going to build the Toys R Us of wine, 8,000 locations for my dad one day. Saw the internet my freshman year at Mount Ida College, and like formidable years for me, like terrible school, super rugged, like 90% of the kids on fucking, student loans, like half the school on welfare. Completely, I already had a lot of diversity growing up because of Jersey, but like all of my nuance when people ask me about like sports, edge, hip hop, like all of it came from that. Came home every other weekend on Amtrak to work in my dad's liquor stores like a stock boy, like family business over everything. Saw the internet my freshman year of college and said, fuck, this is going to change the world. Completely pot committed, first 5 seconds, this is the world. Launched, while I was still in college, a website for my dad's business called Wine Library. Came into the business in 98. My dad was doing a little shy of $4 million a year in revenue, 400,000 in profit. In a 7-year window, I grew that from a $4 to a $60 million business. On the back of email marketing, Google AdWords, having a website, thought I was one of the best retailers in the world, kind of like DNA. Can't wait to get into my prime, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. YouTube comes out. I'm like, this is different. I was right about email. I was right about Google AdWords, but this fucking feels different. Started a wine show. It exploded. First time I started doing business by not spending money on marketing because it was happening organically. Google buys YouTube for 1.7 billion. I go, I'm a fucking idiot. I'm always right about the future. I read an article about angel investing, decided I was an angel investor in the spot in my liquor store in 2006, 7, and decided I was going to go to this thing called South by Southwest because it seemed like that was a thing. Went, started meeting people with my charismatic personality, like just met people, became friends with like Blaine Cook, the original CTO of Twitter, became friendly with Eb Williams, became friendly with David Karp of Tumblr, became friendly with Mark Zuckerberg, took all $200,000 I had saved because I was making like 50, 60, 70,000 a year, but spending no money, working 15 hours a day in the liquor store. So I was able to save some money, which is why I always talk about in my content. You can make 60,000 a year and save money if you spend 10,000, live like dirt, eat like dirt. Like I had a plan, spent all that money, invest in those 3 companies, changed my life, obviously. My brother's 11 years younger, best friend, graduating BU. I say, decide to start a company. I amassed a ton of followers on Twitter. That made everybody pay attention to me. ESPN paid me $5,000 to consult for an hour. I thought that was $1 million. I decided to start VaynerMedia because big companies don't know anything, and I'm going to consult for them, and I'm going to learn Fortune 500 land, and then eventually buy big businesses because I learned from the street. I'm not going to go to get an MBA from fucking Harvard, but if I get Pepsi and Coke and Unilever as a client, I'm going to fucking reverse engineer that shit in a year, know everything, and fucking become like the guy. And basically from that platform, I decided that what I knew about modern marketing was better than everybody, to just say it what it is. I really thought I was that guy. And so I decided 5 years ago, because I couldn't get all my clients to do it, that I was going to deploy it on myself. Think of like superhero shit, like the crazy doctor by accident spills the potion on them and they're fucking, you know, the Hulk or Spider-Man or some shit like that. And so 5 years ago, I'm like, fuck this. I'm gonna put the model on myself. And that took me from a certain place to a different place that allows me to be where I'm at now. It proved to me how right I was. And it's allowed me to deploy that against other things. Along the way, I started several companies, Resi, which was a major exit to Amex a couple of years ago. I started another one called Empathy Wines, which I sold to Constellation earlier this year. So, you know what's funny? I have the sizzle because I'm the motivational speaker and the followers on social media. But then people that really look under the hood of that, they see the stake of like, you know, VaynerMedia's, you know, 1,000 people globally, $200 million revenue business. I have these 9-figure exits twice in the last 5 years. I took K-Swiss from losing a ton of money and being a completely not relevant brand. I made myself the face of it and did the marketing. They sold for, you know, $500 million to a Chinese apparel business. I'm starting to put the wins on the board where the real guys and girls are like, wait a minute, he might not just be a snake oil salesman, kind of yapper, motivational speaker, selling courses, bullshit guy. This guy might be a real thing. And to be frank, Rich and Johnny, to me, whether I get the boos or I get the cheers, I can't hear shit. I'm in my zone. I'm going to execute, fucking build bricks and let the chips fall where they may.